Hi, this is Dr. Nelson Ferreira. I'd like to present to you a transplant case of a patient of mine. This is a gentleman who I performed a hair transplant on approximately 8 months ago. He is a approximately 53-year-old gentleman, and you're about to see some video approximately 8 months post hair transplant. He got 2,750 grafts put mostly into the front half of his head. And I think there's a few important notes to take away from this type of video. Number one, he's a 53-year-old Asian male. And Asian hair can sometimes be difficult to work with because it's a bit coarse. But again, with the right expertise and some special techniques that we use, we can produce a completely natural hairline. Number two, notice how he has what I call respectable density, which means using a few tricks unique to the Seager Hair Transplant Centre and what we call a differential density distribution, what we can do is take the grafts and plant them at specific densities in certain areas, increase the density in one area, decrease the density in another area, and overall you get the impression that it's very respectable density. My understanding is that this gentleman is going to come back in a few months and he's going to consider doing some more work towards the back of his head. Right now, I think he looks great, and I think most people would agree that there's been a big change from the before pictures. I like to construct the hair transplant in such a way that patients don't have to come back. So as a 53-year-old male, if he does nothing else, I still think he looks fantastic. If he wants more work done in the future, he can have that done. But I do think there's some important teaching points in this particular video. Thank you. Just stay right there. All right, so this is our patient. He's about 8 months post-transplant, and this gentleman is an Asian gentleman, and I just wanted to point out a couple things. First of all, he's probably going to get about 20% more growth over the next ensuing months. We did the entire front area, and you can see that towards the back here, there's still some space where if he chooses, he can have a transplant done in the future. But in the meantime, he has very respectable density up towards the transplant. And as we get towards the front, and I'm just going to try, if we can, to zoom in on his hairline. He looks great. I think he's hoping that so I think that's a pretty good close-up of the transplant. And let's turn this way. Good. We're going to just part through like this. So you can see through the transplant there's actually respectable density. It'll get a little bit more dense as the time goes on. A little bit of spiky hair, but still very nice. And chin up. So focusing on both sides of the hairline, just turn them this way a little bit. Good. Good. We're going to part back. Good.